be weird, but hey, the new start of episode 40.
Wow.
Anniversary.
Whoa.
Deja vu.
Empty cans.
Empty cans.
If you're wondering why the cans are empty already and we've just started, we recorded about 30 minutes into this episode and then my computer crashed and we...
Live. It's a Foley artist.
we might be able to recover what should be in that 30-minute episode, but in case we don't, I'm going to do a quick overview. I forgot to even do this. Congrats to Conrad and Jeff.
Yeah.
Conrad
Conrad and
and Jeff.
Jeff. They're Australian, right?
Name Jeff.
No, they're not Australian.
So we have Australian followers, though,
We
right?
do, but
Shout out, Hank
shout out to if
Troutman.
you're from Australia.
Hi,
Do you know Chris
Troutman.
Hemsworth?
This is so unhelpful. It was just 30 minutes of this. We didn't even start the episode yet. So we're right back to where we were
I
before.
bet they're so excited right now, though.
Who, the Australians?
Yeah!
Yes, I'm
They're
sure. Yes.
surprised.
Yay, you didn't win. Yay.
Anyway, Jeff and Conrad, I just sent out your adventure notes today, courtesy of Chris Stevens from Stevens Woodworks VA, RVA. So anyway, happy anniversary to us, kind of all the stuff we've already done. I'm sorry if we weren't able to recover what we needed to recover. But, anniversary, blah, 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 blah. What happened in the 30 minutes that may not exist and we might be cutting out is that after a meeting with Treya Valerian and that whole meeting, I need to do the recap too. Met with Treya. Treya bought out the contract for the rebuilding of the property on Cicero's land, Cicero and the Isero family's land. And then bigger plans were in development there. Also, some form of agreement for this party to escort Treya to Dustforge, which Pilgrim was interested in going to, is being set up, and some sort of contract is going to be sent to Rickeldar to get those terms done with. That all was set up. Julie started a job with the guard, and Lorelith is out in the woods being a sad girl. That is the brief. And then to briefly cover the 30 minutes that happened was the after conversation from the meeting resolved in some excitement and appreciation for the jobs ahead and people deciding where they were going to sleep. Mm-hmm. And Misery met with Four Fingers.
There was such a good song!
That was a really good song. You missed it. I hope we can find it, but Misery wrote a song about his new friends and how the new friends were more important than the old friends.
Can he do a snippet? Do we have time for him to do a snippet?
Absolutely not. It's secret content.
It's secret content.
You have to
do it!
99 cents.
Do it! Do it!
Alright, the snippet is Friends!
Yeah.
I think the link went. Okay. But his what did come out of that was you found out that this guy who may or may not be homeless and sang a weird song about there being demons on the moon, who watched him at night. Misery met up with him, and then they ended up performing across town and collecting a bunch of money. And Misery doing a really good job in that performance as well. They did a little tour of the streets and made some good money to take care of themselves. As well as Four Fingers found himself a good half of a fish left in the trash from the rich side of town that he was just real happy about. With all of that said, it is now the next morning, and we're going to hop into Pilgrim's start of his day.
Let's see, wake up.
It's like a hot rod. Cuba sank.
Everything's a movie.
You're not funny.
You're right.
So, Pilgrim, how are you starting your day? Like we met you 1 year ago real time.
Wow! And you went,
1 year ago in real life, 1 week ago, and so much like a week ago.
Mm-hmm. Pilgrim wakes up at the cozy cots.
Waking up at the cozy cots, get to the end of my little mat bed. Is it just like a roll?
It's your own roll. It's
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
what I
a
thought.
roll.
it's the
It's just a roll, sitting on the edge of my roll in my little meditative stance, taking my deep breaths, clear the fog, light the path.
A guy walking by and waking up kind of accidentally knees you in the shoulder as he's walking by, and it just briefly
Clip. clear the fog, light the path. And after doing that for 30 minutes, the beginning of my day, I get up and I walk past my dear Sagrius. And I give him a little nod of greeting. I say, good morning, Sagrius.
Good morning again.
And I walk right out that door, and I'm heading to the Brass Star.
Right.
And I am just praying to Numero that Martha's not at home. It's just Fairgrand waiting at the front door.
Martha.
Roll a d6.
Oh, gosh.
Yay!
Yeah.
4.
Great.
Oh.
So, you get to the Brass Star. And you open that door. And you sheepishly peek inside, hoping not to draw any attention in case it is Martha, so you can quickly run out without even starting a conversation. Hello, Pilgrim. Fairground, is that the next?
I was going to say, I'm not going to be able to decipher your NPC voice. Yeah, you see Martha doing a Fairgrand impression. Fairgrand, good morning. How are you this day?
I am doing all right. It is good and bright and early to start here. Had a great night conceptualizing and designing and thinking about what to do with these stones, and have a pretty good idea. I think that I will be able to work out over the next 2 days or so and start to kind of forge together something I think might help amplify the abilities that the stones and you might have.
Amplify, I hope. What exactly do you mean when you say amplify?
Well, after we talked and a very restless night of imagining things and trying to figure out what type of construction would really play out to the innate abilities of a stone like this and the features of the Kalishtar that you bring as well. I imagined this object that, with the placement of the stones and some very crafty use of metal and wood, and then and he kind of twists his hand and this sparkly dust kind of just gets created within his fingertips as he's thinking through this. Manipulation of the arcane, some type of long-form communication device might be able to be crafted that we may use to then leverage some conversation with someone very far away who might be Kalishtar herself and maybe get a hold of Rimi's attention in whatever direction she may be and communicate in some form if we can find her.
Interesting. Do you think you can accomplish this sort of creation in 2 days?
In 2 more days. Last night was a lot of dreaming and a lot of thinking about this, and I believe that the physical is there of what would be required. It's just a matter of implementing the shards that you have, and the arcane is a very finicky and temperamental force that would only work out if our best efforts become aligned.
And what do you see as aligning with your intent here?
If given the sacred and important artifact of your people, and what I believe that this construction would be able to do as well, as we discussed at Ocean's Deep last night, that my intention is to bring out the best parts of what this stone, what your people do, which is, as you have done with me and many others around you, telepathically communicate. And this unique feature that you have is won by the hand of this Numero that you have talked about as well. My hope is that this physical construction would simply align with the innate nature and abilities of the stone, and then our will, which the arcane is very receptive to. We haven't really walked through this at all. How familiar are you with the usages of magic and the way that it works?
My perception is simply what I have observed through the actions of Dooley and Cicero, but in my upbringing, simply what we were able to achieve through these husk stones. Very much of a mental, telepathic, telekinetic variety. But beyond that, it is all very much new territory.
The effects that you were talking about, this telepathic, telekinesis, things like that, is merely just the manipulation of the arcane itself. That is just the fruit of the tree, but we're talking about the tree. It's a lot of this is happenstance and also shaky knowledge, experimental and hopeful that we are acquiring some form of actual knowledge of what reality is. So I ask that you would take it with that grain of salt, that I'm not speaking with perfect knowledge or authority, but a tested and inquisitive eye on what the barriers and the capacities of the arcane actually entail. Just understand that before I get rambling here on my cursory overview of the magic of what I've learned. Magic itself is just related to the very core of what this all is made of. It's in maybe you, it's in the world around us, it's in the earth itself, as well as every being and beast of the world around us too. That's just simply there. It's everywhere. But not just here, but here and other heres. You might have, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but like Canvas in our plane and our world, I believe that we exist within this space, this location, and Valessa created it, wielding this arcane and other elements of magic to create what is here, but there are also other places out in other worlds almost that exist as their own locations, as their own places. And the arcane is this open potential of what is here and the actual creation of what that is. Such a strange thing to talk about, but the actual creation of that moment, of that potential, of that thing becomes real because of the arcane. And Valessa, the great creator, the one who created the arcane and the world and all of the rules and bounds that it goes by, have mixed and wielded with all of that to then create what we have. And that's just simply the raw magic of what has the potential to be wielded and created by somebody who's a mage who studies it and works with it, to then bend and twist what we call the primary elements of it too. We have earth, we have fire, there's wind and water, that there's some combination in the mix with the different balance of some of this, none of that, some of that, and then the arcane and your own will. That is magic. That is creation. And, well, I cannot overstate the importance of will in the combination of those things. Pilgrim, it's fascinating that almost the arcane itself seems to be aware of the desires of the person wielding it, even though it's itself not a personality. Two equally trained and powerful mages could summon and beseech the exact same levels of some amount of fire and water or earth or whatever else in the elements that they're trying to do to produce some type of enchantment or spell, and the arcane. And one of them could be, well, a a person who desires to protect or to do good or to wield this power with the great responsibility that entails, and the other could be acting completely out of response and protection and even some type of vile self-justice or defense. And in some way, if these two people are wielding and shifting the magic in some way that involves one hatred or revenge and the other in good hopes and desires, the thing that they would create could be drastically different, even though the elements are the same. Does that make sense?
I understand the idea, the concept of other worlds. I've heard Dooley speak of this, of coming from another world. I understand and have witnessed the power of these stones in the hands of those that would seek to honor and preserve and create new life from the power within these stones. And I have seen others with ill intent use the same power for ill ends. I respect and admire your pursuit of learning and your pursuit of honoring the arcane itself and learning more about the arcane itself. However, I must admit, I did not come here to be a partner in a magic experiment. I came with the shards of an important part of my past, and I simply wish to honor what has been broken and restore what has been defiled. And if that can be achieved through what you wish to create, then I do think our intent is aligned. But I do not wish for these shards to simply be a stepping stone in the pursuit of knowledge.
I respect that, and that is why I do wish to invite you to the moment that these stones would be incorporated into the device I wish to supplement them with. This will, this desire, the heavy influence that has on the actual production of the wielding of magic, I wish to provide for you the components and the physical and the needs that I believe the magic necessitates to then create what I have vision for these stones to contribute to. However, I would not wish to impose my will on the usage of these stones, because I believe that is where this religious element that you bring and the respect that you wish to bring to these stones as well, that is where your desires lie. So, what I would hope to do is, in a couple of days' time, I will work on the construction of this physical piece, and when you provide the stones, and your will and your desire to what they would potentially accomplish by being drawn together by the powers that I provide as well. We would then see how this amplification system would then partner with your will and your desire for these stones to be used for good, to what I intend and what I hope to be only to restore them and even increase their power to do what they were initially intended to do, which from your description, I believe would be hopefully to unify the Kalashtar people, you and this would be me, to then beseech Numero and ask that his power be then brought into this stone and this implement that I provide, and this vacant and potential arcane then be used to then fulfill that will that you would instill into this project as well.
Does this seem performative, or does he seem that he means what he's saying?
Sure, roll your insight check. Oh, wait. I forgot.
Yeah, you.
Oh, you rolled insight check.
I roll your insight check.
Oh, wait, why?
So you don't know?
Because if you know the number and the result, that can influence your playing out of Pilgrim believing what I tell you. Does that make sense? So it's like if I tell you or if you know your insight roll is a 2, and I tell you like you think he's great,
Then you know he's lying.
Then you know
it's like
he's lying.
I don't know how to do that. I said this like a couple episodes ago that I was going to start doing insight checks.
great.
So what is your insight modifier though?
You're going to add a +7.
Right. So,
So you know you're not gonna get.
Sorry, a +9.
okay.
That changes things.
By 2.
So, you see, even looking back to your conversation with Grand last night, and it was a very respectful, it was a very building, it was a very exciting conversation too, where you were talking about this and you had the stones and you were trying to talk with him about what you hoped to accomplish, and he started to describe his intentions there, and he was very much hanging on to wanting to see you reunite with Arini because he believed that y'all had a very similar journey and something that would overall just benefit you personally if you were able to talk with this person who also left the clan. So tonight, or this morning, while you're talking with him too, and he's playing this out and he's walking through what he hopes it would accomplish and inviting your will and your desires into it as well. Your read on that is he sees your beliefs and your admiration of Numera and the function that the stone has to play with that too. You see him wanting to surrender to you as much as he possibly can in order to preserve your desire and your will in the process as well. That he sees your trepidation to manipulate these stones as highly respectable and not something he wants to step on.
Well, and I rolled a nat 1. That sounds like a good read on the man. He seems like a stand-up dude. Okay, great. I nod slowly, and I smile, and I say, vroom vroom. No, I don't say that. What can I do to aid you in creating this? Is there anything I can do?
I have never tried to combine the faithful religious powers of a faithful follower of a god with my process of invoking the powers of the natural arcane world. So, I don't know. But from what I have been able to produce from enchanting mundane items and producing strong magical powers in and of their own character and power themselves. Once I have the construction complete, I will trust you to bring the stones as you would wish. I will create a space for them in the construction. And while I am enchanting and invoking the arcane power, I would ask that you join in that magical process to then contribute exactly what your hopes and intentions and pure desires for the stones to be, so that that powerful desire that you have would be instilled in the process.
Believe me when I say I do think that you mean well. I would feel comfortable, I would feel most comfortable were I able to be here for as much of the process as possible.
I would be delighted with the time and the company.
Neato. It's settled then.
I've heard if you hang out downstairs, some other company that enjoys yours might come by.
I was going to see if that company could go and tell my company what I'm doing. and not be here.
I will see if I can be arranged.
Wonderful.
That'll be here.
Great.
I am ready to help and do it. I am his assistant now.
What?
His partner in crime.
Yes.
Does that mean you get to hang out with Martha all the time?
I literally just asked that you leave.
Right. We will cut away from that and rejoin that at some point later. We're skipping over some subtext. Gwendolyn comes to Thelen at some point. Thelen.
She finds me.
You're in the same tree.
Yeah, you're up in the tree, and Gwendolyn comes to the base of it this next morning, and she's looking up at it. Thelen?
Yes.
Oh, right tree. Okay, great. I tried like 8 other trees this morning, and I was really embarrassed, but nobody was there to look at it, or me. And, well, I guess I didn't need to say that. And I would have been fine. Well, Thelen, sorry to bother you this morning, and then you can see that she pulls out a little envelope from her pocket.
I would say when she says sorry to bother you, I kind of roll off, grab onto the branch that I was laying on, and just swing down and pop Max and say, it's no bother.
That was, wow, you're very smooth. So here's, this is from Grenjan. I bought his house yesterday, and just met with him this morning. Saw him out as he was leaving town. He's heading to a town called Bounty Faith, and so he's moving to be with his cousin, who's going to take care of him. I know he wanted Lorelith to get this, and I know that you and Lorelith were getting to talk a bit more, and I don't think she likes me very much. I think she likes you more than she likes me. So I think maybe you could deliver this to her if you go and find her. You might also be better at finding her than me. I don't know.
Of course.
Great. Well, hi, Oba. Oh, you're so sweet. Great. Oh, such a good fox. Anyway, yeah. Here's the letter. I don't know how she's doing, but I also want her to know that she's okay to take the time that she needs, but not so okay that she shouldn't come back.
I would take this and check on it. As you said, sometimes we just need time to process.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want her to feel like she can't do that either. But also hug her for Grenjan, because I hugged Grenjan for her, and she needs that.
I will.
Will you?
Great. I think I'm gonna go find Tuli.
See you soon.
Bye.
Great. Cool.
So good.
Nice.
I have a way that I want to do this. I'm not sure.
Yes, it works.
I'm not sure if it's Michael or if it's Thelen, but we're gonna run with it.
I think it's
Are
brilliant.
you gonna track me?
No.
No. Wait, do you know what I'm gonna do?
Locate beasts or track beasts.
Yes, but the way that I deliver it is going to be
Oh.
different.
Yeah, that's great.
So yes, especially since I know that, I guess I don't know that we have downtime, but it doesn't really matter if I use my spells.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Thelen would locate animals
Yes.
to try and find Wolfie.
Yeah.
Whoopee.
But Thelen will also... am I able to find Wolfie?
Yes.
Okay. So...
You get the particular direction and distance and kind of get this exact little ping. And from that experience too, is you're holding this letter and Oba's next to you, and you can just collect yourself with nature to get this overall sense of this position of this other beast. Your mind, your soul, your spirit, however you want to think about it, as you close your eyes and you get in touch with this spell, you can feel yourself fly up into the sky, and you do this kind of like mental perimeter, almost as if spiritually you were this eagle flying around in this circle above your head. And then from that, as you return to your own physical body, even though you never saw her, or you never really got this exact sense of where she was, there's just this, she's happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I know how far time-wise?
Yeah. Just in general, probably from where your tree is at and where she is, like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Direct line.
So I'd say that Thelen's going to walk for about 10 minutes in that direction.
Yeah.
Knowing that Wolfie has a very good sense of smell. I also use Pass Without a Trace and make myself and Oba completely undetectable.
Yeah.
And
Scare the shit out of
wait. So that lasts for an hour. So I know that I'm 10 minutes away. I can take my time. We head over and I can use my very basic first level spell to speak with Wolfie.
Yeah.
So as I approach, I see them. What are you and Wolfie doing?
What time is it?
At this point, it's not like bright and early morning, but like you've already established yourself in the morning. You've done whatever routines to eat and clean up and all that. And
Yeah, we're probably
just finished the whole like morning work routine.
okay. We're probably still sitting around like a fire that's like burning some embers. I didn't keep it going, but it's I'm sitting there and I'm whittling away on a stick. Pretty.
Try to make your husband flinch. Grabbing strength contest. It's unrelated.
We're having a moment. Sorry.
Hey, you guys are really distracting. Pretty deep in thought, Wolfie's probably laying down next to me, like curled up at my feet, and I'm just whittling away.
God, we do wing.
I don't notice him at all.
Right.
Well, no, I'm completely closed.
I know. Scare the shit out of me.
So I
chewed.
What's your perception modifier? So if you were to make a perception check, what do you add to it?
50.
And go ahead and just make a stealth roll for me.
That's really good.
Whoa! Which one do I roll?
What did you say?
That's really
D20
good.
plus your stealth modifier, and because of Pass Without Trace, you have 10 to it.
My perception?
Modifier. What do you add to it?
Plus 6.
Okay. Your passive perception then is 16, which means when you're not actively looking for something, like right now, he just has to be a 16 to remain undetected. You add 10 to it.
I rolled a 15.
With your plus 10?
I rolled a 3. Oh my
He
gosh!
trips on a stick and I wake out of my trance.
Doesn't she have to be looking for me?
No, there's a passive perception. That's what I've been doing. What's your stealth modifier, though?
Only 2.
And what's on your die?
A 3. So 5 and 10, 15.
Wow, yeah. So,
You don't have advantage with pass
I was just trying to have some fun.
no. Yeah, so with Ellen, with your best efforts.
But, well, what's the range on hers? Because I'm not close enough yet.
You're close enough.
No, this
sometimes.
would have been like as you were getting within range, is what I was kind of working towards. So,
Oh yeah, you didn't say that they're not here.
who?
Because I'm not
Sandra and
I'm not
Rachel?
to them yet.
Right. What were you doing from the outside range?
There must be.
My plan was to
Didn't?
call to Wolfie using my ability to communicate and have Wolfie come over to me.
Sure. Okay. Laura, if you were to hear some like soft voices calling towards Wolfie, how would you respond?
I would put my whittling away and I would get my dagger out.
Wouldn't they be in animal voices? She can't communicate with animals, so
So-
she wouldn't hear me.
Bork.
So, because of the way that the roll did pan out, and even though you were doing all of your best efforts, Lorelette does have a very keen ear. And
I lived on my own for 400 years.
so, I know that this does kind of clash.
Stupid 3. It ruins everything. I needed to roll a 4 minimum.
Yes. This was just the bare minimum. So I know this does clash with kind of the plans that you had going for it, but this is where the fun of D&D introduces the dice and working through how this is a plan out. So you start calling out to Wolfie and trying to get Wolfie to come over to you by himself. Lorla hears it and kind of wrestles up, pulls a dagger out, and looks over in that direction. She finds you.
Well, then I just uncloak and say, hey.
Hey, why are you sneaking up on me? And I slowly put my dagger away, but my hand's not off of it yet because why were you sneaking up on me?
I wanted to give you space, but also deliver a message.
Okay.
I have a letter for you.
Okay.
And you can read it. I haven't read it. It's still sealed. I was going to see if Wolfie would take it to you, which you found to me.
Oh, I see.
I hope that you're doing well and taking time to yourself because I know how much we need that. I don't know what this letter entails, but read it, and I hope to see you soon.
Who is it from?
Gretchen.
From Gretchen.
Oh, you know Gretchen?
No.
Okay. All right. Good talk.
It was given to me by Gwendolyn.
Oh, okay. I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Gwendolyn or Gretchen?
Don't forget the most
Gwendolyn or Gretchen?
What was the most important part? Oh. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. Roll for hug.
Oh no! The one.
I would say because I was found out in my stealth form that there will be no hug, but I will. There will be no hug. I will hug Wolfie.
Oh.
A good hug, like a full squeeze and then a double pat.
Oh.
Did you miss him?
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
I have a great connection with animals.
Let's see. And I see Oba, and I give him a little scritchy button.
Oba.
And I say thanks. And I take the letter.
Yeah. Say I just hope to see you soon, and then
Okay.
kind of nod and head in the opposite direction. Farewell.
An unfortunately tense and awkward interaction. I'm sure you had some great stuff planned, but I'm sorry that's not
The dice.
Do I get the letter now?
You do get the letter now. Do you open it and read it?
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of...
I don't get to dramatically open a piece of paper and read a letter?
I thought about doing that.
Aloud? Other people got to do that.
Oh my gosh.
I gave you the diary. Well, no, that was all.
You gave me a Google document.
Yes. I actually want to read this out loud.
Oh, okay.
Which is, nobody's gotten that before. This is your own special moment where I read this
Dan
letter
does
to you.
something.
So, the letter from Gretchen to Lorla. So, I wanted to be sure to see you before leaving town, but I knew there was a chance you would be out at work or off in the woods at the time of my leaving. I do not have much paper, so I will try to keep this brief, but there is a couple of things I wanted to secure before leaving. You already can tell by reading this letter that it feels very strange of how well worded it is, but also it's very thoughtful. First, I wish to sell you the property that I purchased at the time of Tabitha and my wedding. We moved here from Bounty Faith over 30 years ago, and this place has been a great home to us both. I hope that it can serve you and your future here in the city, and as I've been thinking over the memories I shared in this home and its future with you, it made me think of the park you spoke so sourly about in the southern part of town. So I went to the archive and I read up on the history of those purple-leafed trees. They are called the Western Violace, Violace, a gift to populace from the trade agreement they established with the halfling community from Spring Hills for a steady supply of Fedo that is farmed there. I'll send this to you. You don't have to worry about doing much of that. So these trees were a gift from this city of halflings that exists somewhere else, and they also trade with populace there, Fedo. Trees that did not originate in this land have managed to survive here in an unfamiliar land. At some point, this became their home. They've been admired, cherished, and enjoyed by at least 2 generations of families and citizens of our town. Nature found a way to persist, as it always has. I always enjoyed the nights when you would return and tell me about what you accomplished and what you were learning, how being in a new place was strange to you, but you were figuring it out. Like the Western Violets, you too have a story to tell. To me, their story is one that represents 2 different worlds coming together to improve the other. For trade, for Fedo, for the beauty that they bring. That is the heart of Fortunato, and thus the way of Populus. So, what then will the leaves of Lorelith say to the world, and where will her garden be planted? And the last line of this is summarized and scribed by the scribe pages of the archive and dictated by Grenjan workmen of Populus.
That's really nice. That's not what Loreleth says.
She says, okay. Bones.
Is that what I sound like to you?
Bones. So much here.
I take a second, still holding the letter open, and kind of like look around into the woods. And Wolfie like looks up at me, waiting for me to make a decision. And I kind of scratch him behind the ears, and I say, well, I guess we have some work to do. And set to packing up our camp, and I head back into town.
Great. Wonderful. That will be the actual end to episode 1, not the forced end by a corrupted file. And hopefully we can get all of that stitched together this time.
Bye.